Alright, the Reds, thank you very much for tuning in on today's daily Liverpool news show. If you want to keep up to date on all things Liverpool related, make sure you do hit that subscribe button down below, or follow if you are watching on TikTok, and put your notification bell on as well, so you always do get notified when a video does go live. It's a quick show today, everyone. Liverpool coming from Paul Joyce of The Times. Liverpool agreed deal for Aberdeen's Calvin Ramsey, which is set to be their last incoming transfer of the window. Prepare to wait until 2023 for midfield reinforcements. And then we go on to the quick one as well from David Maddock. Liverpool have agreed a £6.5 million deal for Calvin Ramsey, takes summer spending close to £100 million, and concludes incoming transfers this window. Jurgen Klopp, as similar with Paul Joyce has said, Klopp ready to wait to make a midfield his priority in the summer of 2023. Well-known admirer of Jude Bellingham, who may be available then as well. So let me know your thoughts on that chat as well. We've seen in recent times journalists, quite very well documented and very well respected journalists, come out in the past over the last 20 years and deny Liverpool have been going in for certain players, and it's more or less been a bit of bluff, like poker, chess-wise, whatever. In reality, I think Liverpool were secretly trying to pursue a player, whether that be a midfielder anyway, this summer. There's still quite a long way to go as well, everyone, so buckle in really, because I can't foresee Liverpool leaving themselves this short, especially if potentially we do see Minamino leaving at the right price for around £15-20 million. It's been linked with obviously the likes of Leeds and certain other clubs around Europe as well. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, if an offer does come in for him in this window, it'd be really disappointing to see if Liverpool were to sell a couple of players. He has moved out. His contract ended this season anyway, so Liverpool, yes, we brought in Núñez, absolutely fantastic bit of business in terms of the upfront in relation to our attack and output. Obviously Sadio Mane, I think the deal will be getting concluded very soon. Bayern Munich waiting on their third initial bid. It's anticipated that Liverpool will be accepting their third bid in the region of in and around £35 million to £42 million anyway, with obviously bonuses anyway tied into that contract. So let me know your thoughts as well, everyone. I'm disappointed. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'd like to see Liverpool bring in a top-class midfielder. Obviously, there was rumours a couple of weeks ago when Tchouaméni of Monaco, prior to his move to Real Madrid, he just sealed that a couple of days ago as well. Very talented midfielder. Liverpool was supposedly meant to have been in and around that deal. We supposedly lodged a bid, whether you want to believe it or not. And it's going to be interesting. There's a couple of reports over the last couple of nights as well that Jude Bellingham, Real Madrid, and a lot of clubs in and around Europe, all the top clubs in Europe, will be keeping an eye on Jude Bellingham. He's one of the most hugely anticipated world-class midfielders. He's still very young, but in terms of his progression as a footballer, I think he's up there in relation, if he does continue the way in which he has developed, obviously in the Birmingham City Academy in his early years, and then he moved to Dortmund as well. So I'd love to see us sign a midfielder. Who that will be, we need a combative midfielder for me personally, someone that can chip in with goals as well, just to ease the burden on Jordan Henderson, Fabinho, Thiago as well, and Naby Keita, because if we do have a couple of injuries next season in relation to our midfield, we're very heavily reliant on a lot of young lads in relation to obviously Carvalho coming in, which is absolutely fantastic. As I mentioned, I'd like to see a bit more goals added to our midfield, and I think that's what he will potentially bring. Harvey Elliott, he did start this season, last season, like a house on fire really. He did get that injury very early on, and he's probably one of Liverpool's brightest sparks earlier on in the season. So yeah, I'd just like to see one more or two more potential midfielders, but as I said, it does depend heavily on players leaving the football club. If Ox is to leave, or we get a suitable option or a bid from him, I'd be really intrigued to see if Liverpool, but we've seen Jurgen Klopp in the past wait for the right midfield, well, the right player who's integral on those big signings. For me, I think if we did make a statement it was a Barella or a Jude Bellingham, whether that be this season. But I don't think a lot of clubs are in a position where they need to sell. But at the end of the day, money talks in football, and Liverpool have got a lot of money to spend in relation to the last 4, 5, 6 years under Jurgen Klopp. Anyway, we've made a profit in the majority of those seasons. I know COVID did have an impact on a lot of clubs, not just clubs but businesses around world football around the world. Anyway, so but for me, the revenue was absolutely fantastic last season, especially when you aren't potentially renewing a Sadio Mane contract, and when you're not potentially looking at renewing a Mohamed Salah contract, then there's still going to be money in relation to the transfer kitty anyway. And as we mentioned, but for me, Calvin Ramsey, if he is to be our final signing, I'll be absolutely gutted. I'm not going to sit here and say that I am, but Calvin Ramsey, he's a very respected right back anyway in Scotland, quite similar to Trent, not on that level of course anyway. He's 18 years old. Aberdeen are quite rightly holding out for quite a big fee. I think it was the Scottish right back that Everton signed was it last year, fitting around 15-16 million pounds. So Calvin Ramsey is their star boy, Aberdeen anyway. They want to hold out, and I think it's a massive deal, and it's another shrewd signing by Liverpool's technical staff in relation to bringing him into the football club anyway, chat. Not going to sit here and say, but I've had a look at the stats. He does chip in with a lot of assists at 18 as well. Especially Liverpool are expected to lose Nico Williams, whether that to be Forest. I know Spence is going to Tottenham, so they will have a vacant right back spot in their squad for this season in the Premier League. And obviously Fulham, he was on loan last season, Nico Williams. So talked about a bit about the transfer budget in terms of Liverpool's incoming funds, and Nico Williams is most definitely that. Obviously just qualified for the World Cup with Wales as well, so he's an established international for Wales and still quite young in relation to football in terms, Nico Williams. But I'm really excited. Calvin Ramsey, not that I'm going to let this signing be shadowed by obviously the news of the no potential midfielders, because I think Calvin Ramsey's got the right attributes to thrive in the Liverpool system. Judging from my mate Doug from the Doug Football Channel, he's seen a lot of Scottish football, and he really does rate this young lad, and at that right price, it's absolutely fantastic bit of business. It's the most Jurgen Klopp signing I've seen, and we've seen that with Andy Robbo, a certain Scottish left back coming in. So even if Calvin Ramsey's half as good as Robbo, then we'll be in good stead anyway, Reds as well. But try and pick yourself up as well anyway, everyone, and let me know your thoughts on obviously the fixture announcement as well. Liverpool will be playing Fulham on the first game of the season, and we've got Palace, Manchester United, Bournemouth and Newcastle in the fixtures in August, and then Everton, Wolves, Chelsea in September. And then we go on, and then we'll go through the last the last four fixtures the last five. Tottenham on the 29th of April, and then we go to Brentford on the 6th of May, Leicester, Aston Villa, and then Southampton away as well on the 28th of May. So let me know your thoughts on the fixtures. Are you a fan of them really? But let me know. Everyone have a lovely rest of your day, and you never walk alone. Ta-da.